Hello, everybody. Brand new microphone here, so just let me know if things are working. Um, Gonna figure everything out here. Vegas is over, and we are done for Las Vegas this weekend. Obviously, the triple header is and was probably the most. The other two races were probably the most interesting of the races that we did get this weekend. So definitely for sure, guys. Um, this is an interesting topic because you have Kyle Larson returning to victory lane, and um, he takes the number 5, which is it's been a long time since we saw the number 5 in victory lane. Um, you know, Kyle Larson takes the win. Really, not really challenged most of the race. I think we can definitely discuss Um, what does this mean going forward? Is his story over? Is the situation over? Hi, Skins. How are you, buddy? Nice to see you. Chase Elliott got screwed again. You're gonna have to clue me in, buddy. I missed a huge chunk of this race. Um, it was a typical Vegas race, though. However, right? Um, we'll try this again, guys. I just got the microphone, so it's completely a work in progress. So this is supposed to be a really, really nice microphone. And Gigi, thank you for letting me know that I was still muted. Um, I want to know what you guys thought because to me, Vegas, the races that we saw yesterday, the race that we saw for the trucks, obviously the trucks is always this way at Vegas, but the Xfinity Series race was really good as well. And um, I'm curious to hear what people think, um, because ultimately, in the end, is Vegas a track that we need to have two races at? Is it? It's a very interesting story for sure because obviously there's going to be a lot of changes, and I feel like the first three races that we had this year, there was, the Daytona was Daytona, but Homestead was a phenomenal race. But when a race can put me to sleep, not that great of a race. Vegas has kind of had this problem for the past couple of years. It's one of those tracks that I feel you either really like it or you really don't. To me, it's not a 2 month, two time a year track. It doesn't offer so much. Like I was thinking about this last week, is that Homestead is already so good, but we didn't even consider like could they ever run the Roval there? That would be very interesting. I know they used to have some Grand Am races there. Um, but we have a little bit of a new look on the channel now. We've kind of added up and changed the colors. We're a bit more red. Um, it is obviously as Canadian as it should be. Um, you know, but at the end of the day, guys, Cup Series is what it is. You know, it's not the Xfinity Series, it's not the Truck Series. The better racing has always been and seems to always be the Xfinity and the Truck Series. You know, the racing has been phenomenal, and I think even yesterday, the fact that we were able to get another new winner this year. Um, we go from Myatt Snyder to AJ Allmendinger. Um, if that type of racing, honestly, Gigi, if that type of racing that you got after the restarts could just stay a little bit longer, I would be hooked. Like, this would be a phenomenal race, but because it gets spread out and it's all about clean air, we don't see the passing that you get, at some of these other tracks where you're able to come from the back and get up to the lead and pass. Um, Vegas, like I said, to me, it's not a 2 times a year track. And the fact of the matter is, you know, we knew Kyle Larson was going to win a race this year. He's too good not to win with Hendrick equipment. Did I think it would happen this quickly? No. I will say, however, that paint scheme means a lot to me, because I was a Ricky Hendrick fan. Sorry, my cat's jumping all over. She's just a pain in the ass sometimes. Um, he won in the Ricky Hendrick paint scheme, and to see that color of blue with the number 5 on it, just like what I used to see with the GMAC blue, Ricky Hendrick Chevrolet. It was the very first year I started watching NASCAR, and Ricky was driving it in the Busch series, and he got injured that year, and essentially he ended his career that year. And they put Brian Vickers in it. Now, that obviously didn't they won a championship, but it didn't really work out, I think, as they thought they were going to have a future star, and it didn't really turn out that way. Brian Vickers is what he is. But I'm curious to hear what people thought. Was this a good race? Are you happy to see Kyle Larson win? I just hope that, he's learned. I hope that any of the stuff that he said, we're done with that and we're moving on. I don't think it's forgivable, but I hope he's earned enough trust to to move on from it. And obviously he has the talent. Now it'll be very curious to see whether there will be another partner to step up with him. It was very interesting today that Nations Guard did not they were with Justin Haley of all people. Which I don't remember them mentioning that Auto Guard was going to switch and be with different rides. So cool. But I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see Kyle Larson with some other sponsorship this year. I think they were waiting for something like this to happen. Obviously, it's a very, very difficult scenario. I still have them, and you guys can agree or disagree. That's completely up to you. That you don't get rewarded with a Hendrick Motorsports. You're suspended, and then you get basically one of the best rides out there. I really believe, and I'm sure a lot of people do, that 48 car was for him. He was going there. That was always the plan, I feel. But because he said what he said, Ally said, hell no. And that's why we have him in the 5 car. And yeah, I you know what, Gigi, I would say I would agree with you. Listen, he had the suspension. He's done the work that he needed to do. I hope he doesn't say it ever again and do something stupid like that. It's not really it's not really my place to be the one to forgive him. Okay, it's it's not really a lot of ours. Um, as somebody who isn't of color, you cannot be the one to decide whether or not he's done enough. That's up for other fans to make up their minds around him. For me, I look at it straight from a racing perspective. He's a damn good racer. He's proven that he's a damn good racer. He is he's going to win multiple this year. The fact that he did it in the fourth race of the championship, it I think they're overdue. And what people fail to remember is that, and it was brought up actually on social media. I think it was Jeff Glock. I apologize if it was not Jeff, but he is with the old 48 team. They know how to win at Vegas. So I would not be surprised if he wins a couple more. That team is starving for victories. Absolutely starving for victory. So it'll be a very interesting kind of go of it, I think, as we move forward, really. There is going to be, without a doubt, there is going to be a bunch of people that are going to be upset, and very well so. They're allowed to. But at the end of the day, he's a race car driver. We're here to talk about racing. We're not here to talk about people's personal lives. What they do in their personal lives, that is up to them. And if they do something that is not accepted, then they will have to deal with the consequences. It's not up to all of us to be the judge and jury. It's just the way things are nowadays that everyone feels that they need to be the one to do it. Let's talk about the race itself. I thought the first two stages very, very solid. They went quick. The last stage, however, man, it dragged. And I get that he won. Larson won in that final stage. And I tell you, man, is there anybody better at Vegas than Brad Keselowski, man? That guy he just does it. He comes out of there and he wins. And, I really am surprised again that we're talking about Brad Keselowski outshining Joey Logano again. It, one of the biggest underdog stories of this race today, they didn't even talk about. Eric Jones, Petty Enterprises, Richard Petty Motorsports finished 10th. 10th at Vegas. So as much as people wanted to give crap to, Bubba Wallace being in that 43, give crap up to Eric Jones. Let's be honest here. Both of them separating was probably best for both entities. And I'm telling you right now, Jones is going to be somebody that is desperate to prove himself. And I think was given up on way too quickly. So the fact that he's got a top 10 this early in the season for a team that really has not had a lot of top 10s over the past 10 years, this is a great, great start. 4 races and he's got a top 10 already. And he was running up front in some of those other races before being taken out. So very solid. Very, very solid start. I'm very excited to see what happens. Obviously, I think we have to remember, 2311, that's a brand new team. And they're going to have challenges for sure. Just give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back, okay? I just got to blow my nose. It's just it seems like every time I start doing a live stream, my allergies get to be a little bit insane. But yeah, guys, the absolute um, true story of this week was that we got to see some really good races. We finally don't have to ask that question: when is somebody going to? When is Kyle Larson going to win? He's done it, so that's already over. Um, and it's time, guys. Like so let's look at some of these results here. Eric Jones in 10th place, Ricky Stenhouse 11th. Chris Buescher finishes in 14th. Ryan Preece is 15th. A lot of really bad races for guys. Alex Bowman, Bubba Wallace, Eric Almirola, and obviously Kevin Harvick. Chase Briscoe has not really had a great start to his Cup career. Ross Chastain hasn't really been anywhere. And I think what we're seeing, guys, is parity once again. Denny Hamlin, while he finished in 4th place, GG, is Blaney's finish a return to form or an out of position fit? You know what, dude? Ryan Blaney is one of my favorites. He's probably my favorite to follow right now. In general, like Kevin's kind of my veteran presence that I'm a fan of, but in reality, I don't know what the ceiling is for Ryan Blaney because he seems to be incredibly inconsistent. Now, we've seen before that it's all about placements. If you're placed with the right team, with the right crew chief, but there's a lot of other things that Ryan does that he does get wrecked a lot. He does wreck a lot. But the consistency just hasn't been there when he was in the 21. He seemed to be a lot more grounded and a lot more stable. It seems for whatever reason, since he's been in the Penske 12, he just doesn't. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or it's just because he's under the microscope of having to compete against Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski a little more. But there's no doubt if you go back to the 21 before Paul Menard, before Matt DiBenedetto, he did really well in the 21. And it seemed like it fit him better. I don't know if that's kind of the right mentality, but I don't know if I ever see him being a top guy in Penske racing. I don't know. He's already, you have to think about this too. He's already almost in his 30s. So we have seen drivers when they get to their 30s that they start to decline if they've started out their career really young. And he did start his career very, very young. So it'll be very interesting because I don't know exactly how committed Penske is to him. And likewise, I don't know how consistent and how focused he really is to be with Penske for years and years and years. Because at the end of the day, he has won races. He's won the Roval, and then he's won races on plate tracks, but he hasn't gone out and dominated a race victory. And that's just kind of the way it has been for him. I would love to sit here and say, yes, Ryan Blaney is going to be week in and week out a competitive driver. I just don't know, Gigi. I would love to see him do it. But if you were to tell me, is it more likely that Chase Elliott wins another championship or Ryan Blaney is in championship form and is in contention? I would have to say that more likely that Chase Elliott wins another championship. I actually look at Blaney as still the third guy at Penske. Keselowski and Logano are both clearly ahead of him. And the Matty D, I would say, is still below him. But, 5th place, he led a lap. He was, he had a pretty good run. But at the end of the day, guys, is Ryan Blaney truly going to be the guy? I don't see it. Um, I'd have to say that um, we want to be, fair to up and coming drivers. But at the end of the day, Ryan Blaney is not up and coming anymore. He has to make it happen now. Chase Elliott has. That's pretty evident. Whether you like the way the championship series is, whether you like the way the playoffs are, he's won a championship. You can't really deny that. Do I really think though that Ryan is going to be above even a William Byron? To be honest with you, I feel like William Byron has had a great start to his season so far, and looks a lot more competitive than I gave them credit for. I really didn't think that Byron had a future at being a top star because he hadn't really delivered. But it takes time. And, I think we could say that if Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, if they all take a step back. Now, listen, what's very, very important to remember is that in NASCAR over the past, I don't know, let's say 10 years now, drivers that peak and then they start their decline, they decline hard. We saw it with Matt Kenseth. We saw it with Jeff Gordon. We saw it with Dale Jr. We saw it with Tony Stewart, and we saw it with Jimmy Johnson, in that they stop winning. They stop running competitively. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to be Kevin Harvick. I wouldn't be shocked if Harvick gets to that point. We have to remember, too, that Harvick still has, I believe he still has a year on his contract, where I believe Kurt Busch's contract runs out at the end of this year. So where do we go from there, right? Well, obviously you're going to have names that are going to replace them, but based off of how he's running this year, I don't know whether Brad Keselowski is really going to go downwards. He seems like he's been just able to stick around, and it is very clear, very, very clear to me that we're going to see some names come in and take over. Larson is going to be one of them. Byron is going to be another. Where Byron is, I don't know if we're going to see Alex Bowman. It still seems to me like that Ally car, it's 1 year, because what's going to happen is Kyle Larson, if everything works out to plan, he's going to get Ally sponsorship and he's going to move to the 48. I just have a feeling like that's what they wanted all along, and that's where he's going. So unfortunately, we didn't really get to see much in terms of Bubba Wallace again. Still not a very competitive year. And listen, I'm a huge Bubba fan. I am. I think he's very good for the sport. I think he's a great personality. But as I've talked with a lot of people, this is his year that he has to prove it. He has to prove that he belongs. He's in the best equipment he'll ever be in. Now, obviously, what people need to also remember is that that team is brand new, and no team just succeeds right off the bat. Normally, they do if they've got a ton of money, ton of experience. I wouldn't say that 23XI is going to be horrible all year. They are really good at the plate races. That's an easy standard, though. Where it's going to be tough, where it really is going to be tough, is when they head to these intermediate tracks, when they go to road courses. We know that Bubba's not a good road racer, and they've added a bunch more road courses. So again, let me know, guys, what you thought of the race, the Pennzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube. Again, for me, it didn't hold my attention like Homestead did. So it's C for me. It wasn't overly entertaining. I'd say yesterday's Xfinity race was a solid B. AJ Allmendinger holding off Daniel Hemrick, and Hemrick is 8 times he's finished in second place. It almost as if he doesn't want to win. Poor guy. And then of course our truck race, man. That truck race, I expected Kyle Busch to get by, but John Hunter Nemechek, he got his first win for Kyle Busch Motorsports. I think John Hunter is going to be really good this year. I think that the KBM platform really needed a veteran in there. And while Christian Eckes was impressive, and while Rafael Lessard made a pretty bad decision and got himself wrecked, I can't say enough about Marcus Lemonis sponsoring, what was it, 10 trucks, I think, in the Camping World race. And he's going at it again this week to sponsor more guys. This is amazing stuff. And I don't think that we can say anything bad about Marcus, because the guy, to his credit, is single-handedly helping out the most vulnerable teams in his series. And that's what a series sponsor should do. I would love to see Xfinity do that. I'd love to see Pinty's do it here too. Is if you got a guy that has no sponsorship, hell, let's put our company on there. Why not? So we're just doing a quick wrap up here of the races at Las Vegas. Thank you for tuning in. If you have already, if you can, guys, just give this a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're here every week. We mostly cover the NASCAR Pinty series. So if you haven't already, this guy behind me, NASCAR Pinty series driver, Alex Tagliani, was on our show. We released the interview today. Okay. Audio version and the video version is up. The Bun Sons were with Alex yesterday. We also have an episode with Alan Bestwick from formerly the NASCAR on NBC, TNT, Turner, ESPN. He was a longtime broadcaster. We got Alan on the show. He was fantastic. So definitely, guys, check that one out. We've had Jeff Lowell from Netflix and Dana Doot, who plays the Mirror in Netflix's The Crew. They were also on the channel. So, guys, definitely check back. And you can go all the way back to our very first interview with DJ Kennington, a longtime Canadian racer who's made it big, running in the Daytona 500. And then, of course, we wrapped this last week up with Alex Tagliani, who's got a brand new e-karting facility. It is extremely interesting to hear his plans for this. So definitely, guys, if you can, check that out. I want to hear some people's ratings for this weekend's race. You know, are you giving it an A, B, C, D, or does it fail? Does it fail for you guys this week? What do you think about Kyle Larson winning this weekend? And not just that, but how about Marcus Lemonis's sponsoring of the Camping World Truck Series along with all these trucks? He's also looking at sponsoring in the NHRA. We're hoping to get him in here for the NASCAR Pinty Series. I know we don't really have a Camping World up here, but we're sure that we can get one of his companies up here and definitely make a good run of it. So let me know, guys. How's the new mic? How's the presentation? You know, we're trying to continue to improve this every single week. You know, we occasionally do a live stream. We occasionally talk about the races. We try to do live streams after the Cup races if we can. You know, obviously it's a little bit difficult with a lot of other stuff going on at the moment, but thank you guys for tuning in. GG, Skins, appreciate you guys tuning in. But if you can, guys, give us a like, subscribe, turn on the bell for all notifications, and of course, share the content. We really do want to. Matt, you're right in time for me to be finishing up. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in once again on the channel. We've gone through a little bit of a change here. You know, you'll see that our logos and our colors have changed a little bit, and we've gone a little bit through a name change. The name was just a little bit too close to another company. So as somebody who works in intellectual property, it didn't feel right for me for us to continue that way. I think it's too close and we don't want to, you know, infringe on anybody. We want to make sure that we're a little bit safer. So making sure that we're indicating that we're from Race Canada, you know, .ca. So if you guys haven't already, check them out. We've actually got a race shop up there, so you can find all sorts of memorabilia. And, you know, if you can, guys, like I said, continue to follow us. We're really, really new on social media. I'm at Cam K Racing. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, and we have Twitter. It's a lot to remember, but we absolutely love chatting about racing with fans. It is the coolest thing ever. We did one stream during the Daytona 500 rain delay, and we had over 1,300 people tune in, and we had over 10 new subscribers that day. We had people tuning in, wanting to chat racing with us, and that was by far the coolest experience ever. So, thank you guys. If you can, like I said, we'll be back week in and week out. We interview people from the NASCAR Pinty series. We want to get people interested in the series. It deserves a lot more attention, and we need to get some more companies aboard. Um, that's one of the goals, is to try and get some companies up here to help with the smaller teams, and give us a shot, and try and do something that we haven't really seen before. So if you can, guys, like I said, look us up on all of those social media platforms. We'll be around. And if you want to just give us a shout, yeah, absolutely, man. We'll chat with Brayson with you. That's what we love to do. Racing is, listen, if you can't see already, I've got racing memorabilia all over the place in my condo here. I don't even have enough room for all of it, but it is my life. And just like Graydon, just like the Bun Boys, just like our guest co-host and moderator, Matthew Hall, we are all about racing, and we're not just about hockey and beer up in Canada. We love our motorsports as well. And we're really hoping to be able to go to the track. Unfortunately, our government is not recognizing motorsports yet, but will recognize hockey, basketball, organized sports like that, where you share a locker room, but yet being outside at a racetrack is still a problem. So we're hoping that we can change their minds. But if you haven't already, guys, like I said, give us a like. We really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it. I don't like asking for followers and for fans and stuff like that. It does seem a little bit weird. You guys, if you turn out and you like us and you think that we produce good content, we'd love to have you on board our crew, and definitely we would chat. Um, Ethan Wheater, nothing to redeem. Great driver before all this went down. Great driver clearly, and more motivated to get the W's. Young money getting ready to dominate me. Ethan, thank you so much for the question. I think you're right. I listen. I think he was going to be a little bit modest coming back, but I think he's ready to show that you guys aren't going to sleep on him. He is going to be in there for championship contention this year. I think we're definitely going to see that. That we have to remember this. That's the old 48 team. And I said it earlier in the stream, Ethan. They want winning at Hendrick Motorsports, and they haven't gotten it. It's time. I think we know that he's capable of doing it, and they didn't win for many years with Jimmy Johnson. They're ready. That team is ready. And I think Cliff Daniels is an excellent crew chief. I really think he's going to mesh well with Kyle Larson. I expect we're going to get a couple more new sponsorships on that 5 car, and it is going to fly. And for me, listen, I got a shelf right over here. You can't really see it because it's behind everything, but it is filled with Terry Labonte stuff. I'm 5 car all the way through and through, man. That was my guy growing up. It was Terry Labonte in the number 5. And to see the 5 car back, it makes me so happy. I would love to be able to see some new sponsorship on that car, but I'm not gonna go out and lie here and say that I don't love the number 5 paint scheme that it had today. That Ricky Hendrick color, man. Oh, beautiful, beautiful car. Absolutely beautiful. A lot of people maybe aren't fans of the way it looks or whatever, but to me, listen, beautiful car. Loved it. He knows how to win. And you're right, Matthew. It is an unsponsored car. It is. There's a lot, and I think a lot of people get confused with that type of stuff. I don't know whether you're going to get people right off the bat, because it is still a dangerous thing, and we know how social media is with supporting somebody that has said something or done something in the past, is that it's very hard to forgive. I think a lot of people in the NASCAR world are just unsure of how to approach it. And I get that. I 100% agree, because as somebody that does content, I don't know if sometimes what I'm saying is going to be taken out of context. And it is a very scary feeling. But it was very clear what he said. It was heard. And now it's time to just move on and focus on the racing. And that's what we're doing here. And he focused on his racing and he won. And if he continues to just focus on his racing and if people let him, I would not be shocked for him to have multi-wins this year. Because I wasn't expecting him to win at Vegas. I was expecting, like what they said on the broadcast, Homestead, Eldora, or not Eldora, Knoxville. Where is it? Knoxville? Where are they going for the dirt race? Bristol. Duh. Bristol. I expect him to win there. But I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a couple wins this year. He's like we said, guys, he's too good. He's too good of a driver to not win. So again, we could go on and talk about this for hours and hours and hours. I've got a lot of stuff that I still unfortunately need to do. We are working on a fan side website. We are looking, we're updating our look, updating as much as we can. We are trying to get new people to follow the channel, trying to get new people to subscribe to our content. I understand that we're not as big and flashy as some of those other podcasts out there. We're a lot older hosts than what you would expect, I'm my late 20s, and then Graydon is in his late 30s. But if you want to come to a place where we're just passionate race fans, this is it. Race Canada fan side. And we hope to have a lot of at the track stuff for you guys. As long as we can get some clearance up in Canada here, that's the end result. Let me know, guys, as well, how the new microphone sounds. I'll tell you how new it is. I opened it right before I started the stream, so I actually haven't done anything to it yet. I actually don't even know if any of the functionalities here are needed to be worked on before I started. So Matthew, I know you're in there. Ethan's in there. Gigi, if you're still in there. Whoever's in the chat, if you can let me know how the sound is, if we're muffled, if we're clear, if things are a little too loud, you just let me know. And we'll make some changes to it. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more used to it in the future. We've got a new interview coming up this week. So again, if you haven't already, check out the channel, guys. I mean, I'm not going to say that there's a lot of people that maybe everybody knows, but if you want to be interested in the NASCAR Pinty series, just Canada's NASCAR series, check us out. Obviously, we've been at this since October of 2020. The pandemic really did allow us to talk with people, and I'll be honest with you, it would not have happened if the pandemic didn't happen, because we're at home, so we have the option to do it. And we have had DJ Kennington, LP Dumoulin, Jason Hathaway, Brett Taylor, Alex Tagliani, who was just joining us. We've had people from Netflix's The Crew. We've had Ellen Bestwick. We've had Dave Bradley, Adam Ross, Todd Lewis, Kevin Lacroix, Raphael Lassard. We have had Josh Williams on the show. We've had Ryan Vargas on the show. So we have had such great people. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you guys, is I expected some of them to be like a bit obnoxious and a bit of a, full of themselves. Oh my God, completely the wrong opinion. These guys are amazing. They're the most humble people out there. So definitely, if you can, check us out, check those videos out, and support the people that have been on the show. Because I'll tell you guys, they didn't have to come on, and they did. And we've got a couple other names that we're looking at from the Pinty series to come on in. We're looking at maybe Anthony Simone, Larry Jackson. We had Jason White live from Daytona. We'd like to get him back on and chat with him a little bit more. One of the guys we've got to try and get is Andrew Ranger. Don't know what he's doing this year. It'd be great to see if we can get him at some point because he's one of the best ever in the series. Jocelyn Ferteau, we'd love to try and get him on. And there's just TJ Renamato, Mark Dilley, Pete Shepard from the APC Late Model Series, Jordan Lawrence from the APC Late Model Series. We have just some amazing people. Gary Clute is somebody that we're going to try and get on the show. Chantel Kalika, our only female currently in the series, but former competitor Julia Landauer. We're going to try and get her on the show. Trying to get more Xfinity guys, some back markers, the Bok Choice. What a great name. That's a great name. What do you think about Phoenix? In this package, do you think we're going to see the same contenders we've seen here in Vegas? You know what? Yeah. I'll be honest with you. The Bok Choice, I hate Phoenix. I think it's an awful track now. I thought it was fine the way it was before. I didn't see a need for the change. I also don't see a need. It's one of those tracks like Vegas for me that I don't feel we need to go to twice a year. It's like Texas, not twice a year type of track. Not a chance. I think you save twice a year tracks for obviously the ones that are somewhat unique. Your Daytonas, your Talladegas, Bristol, Martinsville, but I don't see even Richmond being in that category anymore. I think these cars race so bad at so many tracks now that I honestly would not want to see the same people up there, but I expect that's what we're going to see. Larson he'll probably be contender anywhere we go now. I really think he will. Harvick was uncharacteristically bad today. Hamlin is going to be good everywhere we go now. I think William Byron is going to have a good year. In terms of Phoenix, though, you have to look at who won the race at Phoenix last year. Chase Elliott. Typically pretty good at Phoenix. Denny Hamlin, pretty good at Phoenix. I think Brad Keselowski, very good at Phoenix. But again, Joey Logano is probably the guy that I would lean towards. We've seen Kevin Harvick be very good. But one thing, Bok Choice, that I can say is they don't look the same this year. And I mentioned it early in the stream that there is a point where people hit their peak and then they just go right down. We saw with Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, and Jimmy Johnson. And when they hit that peak and they go down, it's a pretty sharp decline. And I'm not saying that that's where Harvick is right now, but we've seen it. When drivers approach a certain age, it's all of a sudden they're crap. Now, Harvick has been dominant for so many years. It's easy to think of a couple bad races as he's being crap. But in reality, yes, I think the configuration, this package, you're going to see the same guys that you saw today in Phoenix doing the same. Where the difference lies is the trucks and Xfinity. They are a much better alternative. If this racing could be permanent, and what I mean is the racing that takes place right after a restart or the start of the race with all the cars together. That is ideal to having a race like that all year round. Yes, people could say, well, it's not plate racing. Yes, but at least the field is closer together. I was watching what was it? I want to say it was a 2002 race. And that was the very first year that I started watching racing, specifically NASCAR. And it was something like 100 laps into the race. And the only car that they had, this was when they had 43 cars, the only car that was a lap down was in 37th place. Over 100 laps in. We didn't get to lap 17 today. 17 before we had two cars a lap down already. When you have cars going around the track that get lapped over 8 to 10 times just based off of their car speed alone, it means the field is not very competitive. There's a huge difference between first and 37th. Well, back in the day, first and 37th were still within one lap, not 8. Obviously, there is some stuff that has to change for NASCAR's Cup Series to get back to the way it needs to be. We can sit here and gripe and be pissed. The fact that we even have racing is still good, okay? The fact that they had fans at the racetrack, that's great. But to me, this again is the breaking of the schedule that needs to happen. I really hope that the news with the fairgrounds going to be renovated this week, that they announced that they're going to renovate the Nashville Fairgrounds. I really hope that NASCAR really does look at this and go, you know what? We don't need to go twice to Texas. We don't need to go twice to Vegas. We don't need to go twice to Phoenix. We need to go to the Nashville Fairgrounds. We need to go to more short tracks. Actually, Matthew, it's funny because 17 laps in, I thought it was an RWR car, but who's getting a lap was the MBM's car, Timmy Hill. And, of course, Quinn Houff, the 00. I love racing. And I go back to 2002 and when I could watch and see the 55 for Andy Petrie Racing. You could see Kenny Schrader on the 36. They may not have been the best teams, but any week they could go up and qualify second. There's the race that I was watching, Johnny Benson. It was in 2001. It was a 2001 race. Johnny Benson qualified second. MB2 Motorsports. It was called MBV at the time for Valvoline. And that's the difference, is that you don't get that week in and week out now. You don't have a time where somebody's just going to go out and surprise you because we don't even get qualifying anymore. And I hope NASCAR, I feel like they hear us and it will come back. It's just with this whole COVID stuff, it's got to be this way. Thank you for the people that have tuned in. I see we've got 8 concurrent people tuning in. That's kind of cool. I appreciate all you guys. If you can, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. We do content every week. Every Wednesday, we have an interview with a NASCAR Pinty's guy or somebody around the Pinty series or Xfinity or trucks. And we typically release on the Thursday. Actually, the past couple of weeks, we've had double events. We've had Thursdays and Saturday, Sundays. We've had videos coming up. So thank you guys. So we just bumped up the like. So I really appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Yeah. And you know what, Matthew? Absolutely. Bring them up to CTMP, bring them up to Jacasta. I tell you why. NASCAR needs to spread the wealth. And the only issue that I would have, Matthew, is the promotion in Canada is terrible. That's the problem. Because even with the Truck Series race, I don't see CTV News. I don't see Global. I don't see CP24 talking about the races. They don't cover the NASCAR Pinty Series. Hell, TSN doesn't even cover it. They do the live, the date tape delay, but then they don't talk about it during Sports Center. It's still not thought of as a big deal for them. So if they were to bring Cup or Xfinity up here, they would need to be there needs to be much better promotion, and there would need to be a huge sponsor to be able to pay them out, because we know that the teams that's a huge expense to come up to Canada. And they're going to need that corporate money. It has to be a big time sponsor. And if they don't have that, I don't know. Yes, absolutely. The Truck Series has come up here and they've been successful. It's absolutely true. But it's a big, NASCAR will not even consider it, because NASCAR doesn't look at the Truck Series as a really big deal. They don't, and they never have. They look at the Cup Series as their big thing. Now, to me, Matthew, I still think the best thing that they could do, honestly, is have the Truck Series go to CTMP, but Xfinity and ARCA go to Jukasa. I think you pair them. You have the Whelen Modifieds. See, realistically, of the racing series that could come up, I don't think that they would go Cup next. I don't think they would do that. I think that they would want a progression. I think where you're going to see that really be, I mean, the Whelen Modifieds are the closest series to us because they're all up in the Northeast of the United States. Their track over here, it'd be a lot easier. And you cannot tell me, Matthew, you and I know, Jukasa, perfect for Whelen Modifieds. Oh my God, the show that they could put on there. Xfinity, I think would be a great show too, along with ARCA East. Perfect scenario. The Bok Choi's, thank you once again for asking or making a comment, actually. In my opinion, I think the Stuart Haas guys relies on Kevin input big time. And when he's struggling, we see these 4 races. They don't really have no feedback to give to the team. And that's why we are seeing these guys mid-pack. And I guarantee once we see the floor, we're going to see the rest of them up there as well. Yes, absolutely. They rely on Kevin Harvick. It's not Eric. Listen, it's not Eric Almirola. It's not Chase Briscoe right now. They are not anywhere near where I thought they would be. Almirola, I'm still of the belief that he's probably on his way out. Obviously, he's got the sponsorship, but to me, he's not really doing anything with that 10 car. Chase is struggling, and Cole has had some good runs. Obviously, him winning at Kentucky last year was completely unexpected, but you know what? I really do think that that you're absolutely Bok Choi's, you're 1,000% correct, because they rely on Kevin Harvick to be the one to give them the feedback, and I just think that Stuart Haas, you're right, they're not where they need to be this year. Hendrick Motorsports is going to have their best season in a while. I think we've already seen that William Byron and Kyle Larson have won. They've already 2 of their 4 drivers have already won, and you can't tell me that Chase Elliott's not going to win 1 race this year. So then it comes down to Alex Bowman. It'll be a very, very interesting year this year. I really expect that we're going to see parity throughout the league, and we've already seen it. Michael McDowell has been running, even with finishing 17th today, he's still had a good run. So I don't think there's much that we can be disappointed with. I think at the end of the day, the competitiveness of different teams has actually been very interesting. It's been very good. I would love to see Spire Motorsports do a little bit better with Corey LaJoie. They're kind of just where Go Fast was last year. And that's a little bit disappointing. I think Trackhouse as well as Trackhouse and 2311 are both showing their newness. While they got out of the gate really strong, they are not having the best runs. But I expect that we'll see that. I think that the help that they've gotten from Marcus Lemonis with Camping World on Suarez's car. That's excellent to see. We'll just go a couple more minutes, guys. We've been on the stream for about an hour. So I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. The Bok Choi's, I've actually not seen you on here before. So I really want to appreciate, I want to say I appreciate you guys coming on and commenting. We're here every week. And we typically do it after the cup race. We'll do a live stream, talk about the race. And, we're not a huge channel, but the people that come on here, I want to make sure that I give them as much respect as possible. You guys are fans and you don't have to tune in. And I really appreciate that you guys take the time out of your day to come chat with me about racing. It's seriously, guys, it is the most fun to chat racing with people, and I want you to know that your opinions here are your opinions. I'm not going to disparage you for having an opinion on who you like and who you don't like. If I agree, I'll agree. If I disagree, I disagree. That doesn't mean I'm not going to respect your opinion. Because you're a race fan, you're allowed to have it. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. We got the brand new Yeti mic here. The the attempt at a shelf right here. It's the idea is to have not new, but rotating die cast on the makeshift shelf over here, made out of 124 boxes and pillowcases. So we reuse our materials over here. But this week we had Alex Tagliani, former IndyCar, Indy 500 pole sitter, winner at Road America. And he's also a NASCAR Pinty Series winner. He's won many times. He's finished runner-up in the championship. He was on the show. So we have our interview, myself and Graydon, and then, of course, the Bun Sons that were with him. We also had Alan Bestwick from NBC, TNT, ESPN. He's currently not doing NASCAR broadcasting, but he was also on the show. And we also had the guys from Netflix's The Crew on the show. So if you can, guys, share our content, like it. We've only got 3 likes in there. I see we got more people watching, so I'd appreciate it. Just toss a like, if you can, just boom, toss a like right over there. Well, that was really lame. I'm sorry. So thank you guys. We're also on Facebook, fan side. It's actually Race Canada fan side on Facebook, our YouTube channel. We're also on Instagram and Twitter. We're all over the place. So if you can, guys, just give us a follow right there. And awesome. Bok Choi's, listen, man. Come on, we'll chat anytime talking about racing. We'll definitely back on for Phoenix. I'm not really excited for Phoenix. And we also look at it. We're Canadians. We're from a different point of view. We're not American race fans. We're Canadian race fans. So if you want to go and stop to talk about hockey one of these days, we'll do it as well. Talk about beer, talk about our Pinty's wings. But other than that, folks, I want you all to have a very, very great night. Stay safe out there, please. We're still going through all this COVID-19, so maybe make sure you take care of yourselves and your families. And we will see you all here next week. I'm Cam K. Follow me on Twitter at Cam K Racing. I'm also on Instagram at Cam K Racing. And of course, you can follow all of our fan side accounts on social media. Just give us a look at Race Canada fan side. We'd be more than happy to have you on our channels as fans. And we'll continue to talk racing week in and week out. Thank you all for tuning in. Have yourselves a pleasant night. And we'll chat with you all next week